What is a reset without a cafecito?
Ahora soy dueña de mis amores. No voy a perder la vida entera en tus temores. Hoy me levanto con mi alegría y te devuelvo todo el dolor que te trae.
Guys, the time has finally come. I officially completed and updated my monthly and annual budget templates. The first time I published it onto my website was in 2023, I believe. So it had been a couple of years. It needed a refresh and an update, and I finally did it. So make sure to check out my website. It's currently on sale, and I'm going to be walking you all through it in this video as I actually reset my finances for the year. So I'm going to be setting up my budget template, walking you through how I plan to budget throughout the year, and this is what I'm going to be using for my monthly resets, my quarterly resets throughout the year. So if you want to follow along, I would love for you to join me. You absolutely don't have to buy my template, but if you see it and you like it, then the link is down below on my website. It's currently on sale. I'm probably going to have it on sale for a couple of weeks. Make sure you're following me on Instagram to stay up to date to see kind of when I decide to extend it through. If you did buy my first budget template and you're interested in purchasing this new one, I do have an exclusive discount code for previous customers who supported me the last time so that you can get an additional discount on the new version as well. I am going to be sending that, or I might have already sent that in an email, but if you didn't get it, just let me know. I can always just send you the code. If you send me a DM or an email, make sure to leave a comment down below to let me know to go look for your message. But anyway, with all that said, I decided to be cozy, and also there's better lighting here in my living room, so we're just gonna be hanging out here. I swear, I just want to let you guys know I put a lot of love, a lot of time into making this budget template, and I'm really excited to share it with you all. I also got a lot of really great reviews on the first one, and I feel like this one is so much better. It's more efficient. There's a lot more things that are auto-populated because I did take a little bit more time this time to just refine finer details, but I still feel like it has the essence of the first one. It's minimal, it's aesthetic, it's functional. Basically, I made something I know will be useful and functional for me as a person and how I work, and I think it would also be functional for a lot of you. But again, also, I want to make a disclaimer that just because I'm sharing these digital products, I'm never trying to push them onto you guys. It's just a tool. It's a fun, cute, quirky little tool that I love, and if you want to purchase it, awesome, and if you don't, that's okay too. You can still budget and even find like free templates online, or you can even make your own as well, which is literally what I did. So yeah, I just want to put that disclaimer out there. So I'm currently making a copy of my budget template so that I can use this for myself. And also that's something that I do recommend when you first get the link to the budget template, make sure that you make a copy because that's the only way that you'll be able to access it or make any revisions. But also I recommend making 2 copies. That way you have a blank template, and then the template that you work on this year, you don't have to worry about like making a copy at the end of the year, deleting all of your information in order to reuse it. If you make 2 copies right now, then you'll have a copy that's blank for you to use next year if you decide to use it a second year, which I would. It's personally a tool that you could honestly use like for years on end if you decide to. So yeah, just throwing that out there. So I think it'll be easiest if I talk you guys through it and then I take time to fill it out myself. So in the first tab, there's a readme section, which is essentially like the instruction / setup, and it walks you through all the different pieces of the budget template that you need. So I'm not gonna go over that, but there's also an example tab here that shows you what your monthly budget tab should look like when it's all filled out correctly or just filled out in general. And then step 1 in the budget tracker, in order to set it up, will be to write out all of my categories and all of the 7 different trackers within the trackers tab. So that's where we're going to start out. Currently, as you can see, it is all blank. And I did want to talk about this section a little bit more. There are additional instructions on this tab as well to make everything very clear and hopefully very easy to understand, like the changes that happened. So the subscription tracker is the only tracker where you're actually going to go in and put in your monthly expenses on this tracker within the trackers tab, because then that will automatically add up the sum of your subscriptions for that month, and it'll populate auto-populate onto your monthly budget so that you don't have to type in your subscriptions as expenses every single month, but you kind of just get it all done at one point in the year or during the month, whatever. And then for all the other trackers, like the bills tracker, the variable expense tracker, the savings tracker, all of these cells that are not white or that have dotted grid lines instead of solid grid lines, those ones you're not going to fill out. So all of this section, like January through December, the totals, you don't touch them. They get auto-populated as you log your expenses and your debt and your investments throughout the year in your monthly budget. So the only thing that you really fill out in this trackers tab is the entire subscription tracker and the categories for each one of these trackers, because those categories are also going to get auto-populated into your monthly budget so that you don't have to continuously type in every single category every single time that you do a monthly or bi-weekly reset. So I'm gonna go in and fill it out and show you guys what it looks like after. So I'm actually gonna go onto my phone because I don't even know all the subscriptions that I have. Well, I'm only going to list my personal subscriptions because I do have a separate budget that I do for my business, and I do have a lot of business subscriptions that I have. But one thing that you can do, a lot of us don't know how many subscriptions we pay for on our smartphones. So you can always go and look at what subscriptions you're paying for that you might not remember. Dang, yeah, I actually have quite a few. And I just canceled one. I was paying for Pixar as well as Canva, and I honestly use Canva the most, so there was no point in paying for both of them. So this is actually a really good time to go in and look through all your subscriptions and then cancel any that you don't need anymore. Now that I filled out the bills tracker with my fixed expenses, which are the expenses that I expect to not differ in cost every single month. They should always cost the same, which is my mortgage, cell phone bill, home warranty, Wi-Fi. Those ones I will be putting the expected amounts. So these fixed expenses, I'm going to add the expected monthly costs. So I'm going to enter my mortgage, cell phone bill, home warranty, and Wi-Fi. And so now you'll see you enter this amount one time, and then if I go to the January monthly budget, it will auto-populate here as well as February, March, and so on in the budget. But I didn't want to auto-populate the actual amounts just because I know sometimes life happens. Maybe, we might be late on a bill and get a late fee or whatever it might be, and then the actual amount that you end up paying might be different. That way you can still enter it here. So let's say in January, for whatever reason, my mortgage was higher than I expected and it's $2,900. So I'm going to enter that because that's like the actual amount. And then in the trackers section, it'll auto-populate in those purple cells so that you can see. And then over the year, you'll be able to see a summary of the actual amounts, what you spent on your bills. And additionally to that, it will also auto-populate in other areas like the annual dashboard so that you'll have a visual overview of where your money is going. I just went through officially and filled in all of the trackers section. So let's just walk through that real quick. So for subscriptions, I basically just have Netflix, which is entertainment, and same with Hulu. Pay for both of them monthly, and I'll add this section later. But what I did essentially was I went in and I already added the cost monthly for the entire year because I don't plan on canceling them. And also my boyfriend pays for another subscription that we always use. So like I pay for these ones, he pays for those ones. And if I just put it all in ahead of time, then I don't really have to worry about it month to month. If I do end up canceling, let's say I were to cancel Hulu in May, then I would just zero out the rest of the year so that it's accurately displaying the actual costs, if that makes sense. But for example, I wanted to show you this because now that I filled it out within the trackers section, if you go to January, for example, you'll see here in the subscription section within bills and fixed expenses that it's already calculated the summation of both of the subscriptions that I'm paying for in January. So then I don't have to worry about budgeting for it or putting them in separately every single month. It's already on there. So it helps to kind of plan ahead because then you do less work later. So that's that section. And then for the bills tracker, for me, all I could think of right now was just my mortgage, cell phone bill, my home warranty, and Wi-Fi. Those are all bills that are fixed in cost. The budget section is already filled out, which is pretty nice because it is a fixed expense and you don't expect the cost to fluctuate month to month. For variable expenses, I listed out all of my variable expenses categories. And remember, this is just like an overarching category. And this is the only part that you will fill out from the variable expense tracker because everything will get added here as you budget monthly, which I will show you today because we're already like halfway through January. So I think that's actually perfect because I'll get to show you how it'll work when you're logging your monthly expenses and how everything should look. So for example, I put in all the categories for the variable expenses. And if you look at your monthly budget, they are now auto-populated here. And so if you ever want to change one of these, get rid of it or add more, you would just go back to the trackers section in the variable expenses tracker and you would change your categories there. And then this part of the variables tracker is actually going to be auto-populated once you log your expenses down in the expense tracker. So for example, let's say I bought a coffee January 1st and I logged it here, then it would automatically populate here. It would automatically add to the monthly expenses summary here. And then it would also automatically get populated under the coffee category within your monthly budget. It kind of does more of the work for you and it's a little bit more efficient and functional and all the things, but you still have to track your expenses because I think that's one of the most important parts of budgeting is going through your expenses, writing them out so that you can physically see where your money is going and the impact of each purchase that you make. For savings and sinking funds, I think this is one of those things that you're just gonna like change up throughout the year, right? Like at the beginning of the year, these are the 4 funds that I can think of that I really need. I also have like a fund for taxes for self-employment, but I'm not gonna add that here because again, this is my personal budget, not my business budget. And also I don't see a taxes fund as really a sinking fund, even though technically it is. But anyway, rant over. The categories section or like the sinking funds list is the only section that you're gonna fill out for the savings and sinking funds tracker because now there's also like this whole tab just for savings and sinking funds. So those categories automatically populate the names of your sinking funds here, as well as the categories within the calculators in this savings and sinking funds tab. So, and this is where you're gonna do a lot of like planning for that. And we'll get into that in a second, but I just wanted to show you guys like a quick overview. After you add the categories to the savings and sinking funds tracker, I just added my investment accounts as well as the goal of how much I hope to contribute throughout the year towards my Roth IRA and my investment account. They're 2 separate accounts. One of them is literally for retirement and the other one is just an open kind of brokerage account that I have through Fidelity. And I feel like I'm like a baby investor because I'm still learning how to invest. I mainly invest in the S&P 500 because it just feels like a safe bet and it's been doing pretty good. So hopefully I will continue to do that. And then for my debt tracker, my only really big debt besides my mortgage are my student loans. And I don't even know where that's at right now. I know that I'm like on a 3-month pause right now. So I'm kind of not too worried. And I'm not someone who wants to like pay it down because I work for the federal government. So technically I should get student loan forgiveness at some point. And then if the government ends up getting rid of that at some point, that's kind of when I will worry. But I have so many other like savings goals that I'm not focused on that personally right now, and that's personal preference. So please no hate because yes, I do believe you should get rid of debt, but like for me, when I think of debt that you should get rid of immediately and like pay down ASAP is high interest rate debt. And I already personally paid off my higher interest loans in my student loans, and all of them are under like 4% currently, so I'm not really too worried about them. So moving along, I'm also gonna fill in like the goal amount probably once my payments start back up because I don't know what those are gonna look like. So I don't know how much extra I wanna contribute. So we'll be back in one of my monthly resets. For my income tracker, I just added paycheck number 1 and 2 because that's how I like to do my budget. And hopefully this year I'll start incorporating more like bi-weekly budget resets, at least for myself, even if I don't film them, because I think it'll be a lot easier to go in, write out all my expenses that I did halfway through the month, as well as budgeting for only half the month instead of having to budget for the entire month, if that makes sense. So I put that, and then you can already see my income for January because I filled out what I expect to get. My business income will fluctuate because it's kind of based upon how much money I make through my digital products, my different streams of income, which are my digital products, affiliate links, Google AdSense, which is the revenue you make from people watching your YouTube videos. What else? Brand deals. Brand deals is a whole other topic because sometimes I'll work with a brand, like I just worked with a couple brands, but it could be up to 2 to 3 months before I get paid. When you do the work is not necessarily when you get paid, so it's kind of hard to estimate my income for that. And I don't pay myself the full amount. I usually save a big portion of it for business expenses in the future. And yeah, that's a whole thing. But anyway, those are my kind of streams of income and my tracker section. So once you have the tracker section filled out, this is the other fun part because now we're going to set up savings and sinking funds. And in order to do that, there's like 3 different calculators that you can use. They're pretty common, honestly, but this just kind of is a really easy layout to kind of see everything and it calculates it for you. So that's kind of what this is here for. So in the first calculator, you can calculate your monthly contribution using your goal amount and your target date. Calculator 2 helps you calculate your target date. So like how long will it take you to reach your goal using your goal amount, which is the amount that you wish to contribute to your savings fund, and your monthly contribution. And then the third calculator just lets you calculate a percentage of your income. So if you know you're going to be getting a certain amount of money that you want to be contributing towards your savings goal specifically, then you can figure out what that savings ratio is. So that's what it is down here. And as you can see, these purple cells, you actually don't fill those out at all. So those are all going to auto-populate with what you fill up here. Now that I've filled out my goal amount and my start amount for all my sinking funds, you can see I'm 75% of the way to my goal for my emergency fund, 33% away from my goal for my home repair fund, and 0% away from my home fund and travel fund. And realistically, the home fund is not necessary because I have the home repair fund and the emergency fund. The home fund is more so like for little renovations, or I want to add to my home gym, things like that. And I do want to be putting like at least a small amount of money towards that every single month because I did, for example, cancel my gym membership. So maybe the amount that I used to pay for my gym membership, I'll put into my home fund because I'm technically saving money from a gym membership. So then I can use that to build like a home gym. So if you look at the top, my total goal is like $39,000, which is kind of crazy. But you have to remember that that doesn't include the total start. So that means my actual total contributions for the year, my goal is around $20,000. Well, yeah, it says left to save. My goal is to save up like $19,000, which is a lot of money. But I think that if I get focused when it comes to like my second job or my business, and I also stay focused when it comes to budgeting and cutting costs wherever I can, I definitely do think that saving $19,000 is doable. Is it easy? No. Is it doable? Yes. And worst case scenario, I heard that there's like payment plans that you can do for like large home renovations, like getting a new roof. So if I have to, I will, right? Because we never know what's going to happen. But for sure, I'm going to do my best to make these goals a reality, hopefully. So that's how that looks. And then let's use these savings calculators to try to figure out how much we should be contributing. So I'm going to say we're starting all of these in, let's say, January 19th. So for my emergency fund, for everything, I put the start date as today, which is January 19th. And then my target date for my emergency fund, honestly, I mean, I'm not planning to have any emergencies and I do have money saved up in there already. So it's not like high priority in terms of time. So my monthly contribution in order to reach that goal by December 2026 would be $227. For my home repair fund, because that is something that I know I need to pay for this year, that target date is more important. Oh my gosh, I literally need to save $1,100 a month, which is not impossible. Okay, and God is good, so we will see. I literally have to cut so many things, but God is good. You know, if you're watching my video and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Follow along this journey because I don't even know how this is gonna happen. But yeah, hopefully, you know, I'll be able to get some brand deals throughout the year that will help me reach that goal. Because it is possible that my monthly contribution won't be that big every month, but other months could potentially make up for it. And then the savings calculator number 2 is in a way more realistic for bigger sinking fund goals. For example, the emergency fund, I don't really have a set date that I need it to be done by. So instead, I can say, okay, this is how much money I can realistically contribute. And I think this one honestly is like more of a realistic calculator for the day-to-day person. With my emergency fund, let's say I only can contribute $200 a month. It would take me 25 months in order to reach my goal. And let's say, again, I'm starting this goal in January of 2025. It says that my target date would be February of 2027. And again, for me, that's fine because I'm working towards my goal and hopefully no huge emergencies happen by then. But because I already have a pretty significant emergency fund, that works for me. For my home repair fund, because that's something that I do need to pay for literally in the fall, I'm gonna say my monthly contribution would be $1,000, and it says it would take me about 10 months to get there. For my travel fund, I'm gonna contribute $150 a month, and it says that it would take me about 13 months. So if I started that this month, I would get there by February 2026. And again, I feel like I have a lot of travel points, and I'm gonna continue to accumulate them throughout the year since I pay for everything on my credit card because I get so many points. I really think that my trip will most likely be free, if not almost free, if I can learn to correctly do the whole travel hack stuff. So I'm pretty confident that I'll be able to travel, and I still want to save money for it because you just never know, you know? So I like this calculator personally for figuring out your target date because you get to choose what your monthly contribution is, versus calculator one is to tell you what your monthly contribution should be in order to reach your goals. And I feel like my dates are pretty flexible. So anyway, that is the savings and sinkings fund tab, and that's how it works. And that is all set up. So once that is all set up, now we can go to the other fun section, which is the annual dashboard. Now that we're in the annual dashboard, it's gonna get a little bit fun, a little bit crazy. So in this section, I added a little financial vision board section. I realized that you may love or hate vision boards, so feel free to use this section however you want. You can add photos like I'm about to do, or you can add quotes, or you can simply reflect and write down whatever you want for your vision for the year. But personally, I'm a very visual person. And so I think every month that I plan to do my monthly reset and check in on my finances, it would be nice to have a visual representation of what I'm working for. Like, why am I budgeting and trying to be more disciplined in these areas of my life? Why am I trying to intentionally save up this amount of money? And if I see something that's beautiful and that inspires me and points me towards my financial goals, I just really think that that will be, at the very least, motivation. An added boost of motivation, a reminder of my intentions for the year. So I have my 2025 vision board on Pinterest, just all these different things that I saved for my goals and my vision for the year. And you can see there's a couple of cutie little photos here from just like being outside the country. So I'm just going to show you real quick how you can make your vision board on here pretty easily using Pinterest. You can use photos from your camera roll. You can literally look up Google Images, because all you do is double click or right click and then copy image. And you go to your monthly budget and you just paste. And that is literally it. And then you just rearrange things and you continue to do that over and over. And I'm going to go in and add things, and then I'll explain it to you guys why I chose what I chose. Okay, I finally finished making my vision board, and it's so cutie. I really love it, actually. It's pretty great. I might copy and paste that into Canva just to make another vision board wallpaper because it's so cute. But I basically put a bunch of things that I think have to do with finances and just like my vision and my motivation for why I want to be working hard this year at saving and being more disciplined with my purchases and with planning for things that I want to spend money on. So there's like a couple of quotes. One of them says, the best investment is in your financial education, which I think the best investment is in your education in general, but especially financial, because that's kind of how you can break the cycle and start building wealth. In the center, there's a quote that says, smart women invest in their dreams. And listen, if you know me, you know I'm a dreamer. I totally believe in like reaching for the stars. And if you fall, you fall. If you fail, then you just get back up and you try again. I think this is going to be a really good inspiration board for me for the year. I have things like groceries and avocado toast to just remind me to eat at home. Hay comida en la casa. And there's also some nature things because I really want to focus in on nature this year and low cost hobbies. And like David and I love going on little getaways and just trying to find affordable ways to still go out and do all the things that we love without breaking the bank and while still reaching my financial goals. And I think seeing all of this just put together will inspire me. I have the YouTube plaque because it is one of my biggest goals this year to finally hit 100,000. I've been on YouTube for like 4 years, over 4 years, and I just feel like it's time, you know? And because I want to be more consistent this year, I think it's going to be more realistic to have this as my goal. And also as I grow on YouTube and grow my business, I will be more likely to reach my financial goals as well. And I think the fact that they're both so tied together, I had to put that on my vision board. I also have a picture of like Mexico City, one of Italy, because these are places that I want to travel to in the future. It doesn't have to be this year, but listen, we could make it happen potentially. So I'm going to have that on here as inspiration. And yeah, so that's my vision board for my budget, for my annual dashboard. And then as you can see, there's like graphs that are already getting auto-populated just from like the little amount of things that I've started to put into my January monthly budget. So you can see that all here. There's more instructions and details about every little thing on the instructions tab, so make sure to check that out. But I did set my annual financial goals, and everything that I ever do on YouTube and share with you guys, I always, if you know me, like as disciplined as I want to be, I also want to be kind to myself and very flexible with myself, because nobody else is going to be flexible with you. Nobody else is going to be your biggest advocate. So we have to do that to ourselves, with ourselves, for ourselves. So anyway, that's all to say that like I don't believe in having to in one day set your goals for the entire year. Like set what you can and know that your vision might change later in the year, and that's fine. So I set only 3 goals, which is just to reach my investment goals that I already set, to travel somewhere outside of the US, and that is very much a financial goal because I have to save up for that, and also to invest in more index funds and essentially not put all my eggs in one basket, even though index fund is already kind of diversifying where you're investing because it's the top 500 companies in the US. For my wish list, this again, it's going to be a list that I probably add to throughout the year. For the annual one, that's going to be like bigger picture things versus my wish list that is on the monthly dashboard. That'd be more so for smaller items that you feel like you want to impulsively buy. So the wish list on your annual dashboard, it's kind of like bigger items, like something that's over $500. Whereas in your monthly budget, maybe you just impulsively want to go to TJ Maxx. You realize, wait, I actually don't need this stuff. So you write it down on your wish list for the month and you say, okay, do I really need to do that TJ Maxx trip that will cost me approximately $100 to $200, or can I wait a month or even 2 weeks and just sit with it and have it on your wish list so that you remember, you know, and you think about it. And if you think about it and you realize, actually, no, I don't need that, then good. It did its job. But if you think about it and you realize, well, actually, I don't have much clothes, or I need clothes for this upcoming event, or whatever it might be that you have on your wish list, if you decide after thinking on it for a couple weeks, for a month, whatever time you give yourself, that you actually do want it and it would bring you joy or a benefit or whatever, then it still did its job, because at least now you're making the purchase and you know that it's not just an impulsive purchase that you're doing in order to get that boost of dopamine that we all get when we retail shop, or what it is for me, which is to home decor shop, even though I don't need home decor. So that's just an explanation on that. And in addition, I added a little column to think a little bit further about our wish list as well, whether it's a want or a need. And I think that just kind of helps prioritize something a want, something a need. There needs to be a balance. You don't need to only spend money on things that you need. And sometimes you can want and need something. A new roof is for sure a need. Home gym, I made it a want this year because honestly, for now, at my like beginner level, I'm able to do a lot of Pilates and barre classes online on YouTube, so I really don't need a ton of equipment. So this is what it looks like, the annual dashboard. And I think I'm going to do a separate video for like a February reset. And in that video, I'll go over like what I spent in January and how I'm setting up my budget for February, because I'm just feeling overstimulated, and setting up everything for the whole year, it kind of feels like a lot. But I'll show you real quick what I have for January, because I did start setting up, have the budget filled out and all of that. So I'm going to be interested to see what my full budget will look like once I tally everything up at the end of the month. This is what my monthly budget and my annual setup is looking like. I'm really excited, and I love how everything looks, and I think that the changes that I made are so functional that I'm actually excited to like budget every single month and hopefully bi-weekly for myself, and to reach my savings goals. And of course, I'll be updating you guys as well. Make sure to comment down below. Let me know if you guys would want to see kind of interim budgeting videos. Like, I do want to do my monthly resets on YouTube. I've also been interested in maybe starting to do more like budgeting updates on my Instagram and on YouTube Shorts and TikTok and all of that. And I've seen other creators do it. Like, I can't remember her name, but she's basically, all she does is share her budget every single month and like her financial goals and how she's meeting them. And she really inspires me. And I feel like whenever I post things like that on social media, it helps hold me accountable. And I know that it also helps you guys, because financial transparency is so important and super helpful. So let me know if you guys would be interested in seeing those types of short form videos from me, because I think it would be fun and a little bit outside my comfort zone, even though it's kind of related to videos that I make for YouTube, but in short form. So let me know, because I think that would be kind of fun. But anyway, I love you guys so much. Let me know what you think of the budget template. If you do end up checking it out, and if you did buy the first version, remember to check your email for the discount code. If you didn't get an email, make sure to message me, comment down below that you messaged me and that you're interested in the discount code because you purchased the first budget template, and I'll make sure to send that to you. It's going to be a good year. I hope that we all have our budget set up and that we meet our financial goals for investing and savings and whatever it might be. But I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good about it so far. So anyway, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video.